Good day, beautiful people. Today we'll take a look at your sediment preparation for microscopic urine analysis. Yes, sediment preparation. Please note that routine urine analysis is a helpful diagnostic procedure in the workup and follow-up of various urinary system disorders like urinary tract infection, glomerulonephritis, the nephrotic syndrome, and the rest of your urinary system disorders. Again, routine urine analysis is a helpful diagnostic procedure in the follow-up and workup of various urinary system disorders. And the microscopic examination of your urine in conjunction or together with a dipstick chemical analysis is actually utilized it is actually utilized to detect or to assist in the detection of renal and urinary tract disease processes. Please note again that microscopic examination of urine in conjunction with urine dipstick chemical analysis is used to assist in the detection of renal and urinary tract diseases because in microscopy when you do microscopic examination of your urinary sediment, you can detect cellular and non-cellular elements of the urine that do not give distinct chemical reactions. Let's just enumerate the cellular elements that will give distinct chemical reactions, or that are detected by reagent strip. Number one, you have your blood, you have your blood reagent strip pad. Okay, in cases of hematuria, red cells. Okay, your blood pad will detect red cells. What else? Leukocyte, leukocytes or WBCs. Okay, they are detected by your leukocyte esterase in the reagent pad. Okay, and please note that these are the only elements. You have your bacteria, or sorry, your nitrite. It will indirectly detect bacteria. And yes, please note that they are actually your blood and your leukocyte esterase. These are the your blood, your red cells, and your WBCs. They will These are the only cellular elements that will give distinct chemical reactions. Anyway, your microscopy or doing microscopic examination will also serve as can also serve as a confirmatory test. Yes, they can also serve as a confirmatory test accordingly. Because of course, if red cell is seen, okay, if there is a positive blood, okay, in the reagent strip and you've seen red cells in the in your microscopic examination, then it confirms, okay, the positive blood in blood reagent strip method. Okay, or if leukocytes, in case of positive leukocyte esterase, and during microscopic examination you've seen a lot of pus cells in the urine, then that will confirm the presence of that will confirm the reaction in the leukocyte esterase pad, something like that. Okay. With that being said, please note that examination of urine sediment is best reserved and most useful for those samples with abnormal dipstick results. Of course, in here you need to correlate also. You need correlation. You have here a brief one for a characteristic of a competent microscopist. Okay, a characteristic of a competent microscopist. A competent microscopist must be knowledgeable about the morphologic and microscopic elements present. Okay, again, a microscopist must be knowledgeable about the morphologic and microscopic elements. What are those? A microscopist must not be knowledgeable. They must know the morphology or yes, the morphology of your epithelial cells, of your red cells, your blood cells, your crystals, your casts, as well as your other organisms like yeast, bacteria that may be seen in the urine. Okay, uh, a microscopist also must know the clinical significance of urine findings. Okay, they must know the chemical significance of urine findings as well as common chemical abnormalities that are associated with microscopic interpretations. Of course, they must know. And yes, okay, to be a competent microscopist, okay, we must learn these things. Okay, and yes, of course, what we are doing in the academy, we are preparing you to be a competent microscopist. We are preparing you to be a competent microscopist. Of course, in cases, okay, as a competent microscopist, you need to investigate also. You need to investigate discrepancies in reports. You need to investigate discrepancies in reports, like there is a very high reading in uh there is a very high reading in the reagent strip, but then it is not reflective in the it is I mean yes, it is not reflective in microscopic examination as such. Okay, then if there are such discrepancies, then a microscopist must investigate. Okay, and please note that the quality of microscopic analysis of urine is dependent on the expertise of the microscopist as well as the experience. Please note that with the advent of automation, with the advancement of automation, please note that there are a lot of institutions that still perform manual urine analysis. Yes, we are on the era of automated, of artificial intelligence. We are on the era of artificial intelligence. We are on the era of automation. But then please note in the Philippines, there are a lot of institutions. There are most actually of your institutions are still doing manual urine analysis. Few laboratories, okay, you have only few laboratories who are capable of purchasing automated analyzers for urine analysis. With that being said, since we are mostly manual, the quality of manual microscopic urine analysis depends on the expertise, your expertise as the microscopist, and your experience also. Believe me, okay, experience will teach you also here. Okay, if you are really in the, if you're in the real setting, if you will work as a medical technologist soon, okay, there are things that there are actually things, a lot of things that I cannot that I cannot explain to you. Yes, that I cannot explain to you, and there are things kasi that experience that there are things that experience will teach you that will let you understand. I know you do not understand me now, but then again, there are things that you will understand better when you experience them. Okay, and again, accordingly, the quality of your manual microscopic analysis, the quality of manual microscopic analysis of yes, of urine depends on the expertise and experience of the examiner. Of course, I cannot teach you that this and this and that. Okay, sooner when you will work, okay, you will learn that there are such cases then. Anyway, ang dami ko na pong nasabi about that. Sample required for routine urine analysis, of course, a freshly collected urine sample. Once submitted in the laboratory, you examine as soon as possible. You examine as soon as possible. A freshly collected sample is the required sample. Okay? But then, if you cannot test it right away, then you do preservation. Of course, we learned about sample preservation during the first grading. Okay, and yes, refrigeration at 2 degrees Celsius to 8 degrees Celsius will prevent lysis of or destruction of sediments. It will prevent lysis or destruction of sediments. Please note that samples should be examined right away. Okay, as soon as they are submitted, as soon as you receive them in the laboratory, because your cells and your casts begin to lyse within 2 hours of collection. Please note that your cells and your casts begin to lyse within 2 hours of collection. And yes, if you cannot test it within 2 hours of collection or within 2 hours, then you employ preservatives or you refrigerate the sample. You refrigerate the sample at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. I told you last time that in Brancel there is this different it says a different temperature range for refrigeration. Anyway, please balikan nyo na lang po. Again, as what I've said earlier, the sample must be fresh. Examine a freshly collected sample. And yes, manner of collection, midstream clean catch. Again, midstream clean catch. Okay, midstream collection accordingly is recommended for females to reduce contamination from vaginal elements. To reduce contamination from vaginal elements. Usually, okay, you have a lot of epithelial cells and other contaminant and yet yes epithelial cells in cases of in females who do not perform midstream clean catch. Sediment preparation, of course, you do first, of course, is you check the urine sample. Okay, and then you perform physical and chemical exam. Of course, you need to what you call this, check the color. You record the color. You record the transparency or the clarity. If the urine is clear, hazy, turbid, cloudy, milky, whatsoever. And then you place 10 to 15 ml of well-mixed urine in a test tube. 10 to 15 ml of well-mixed urine in a test tube. Of course, if you were asked, the average is 12 ml. 10 to 15 ml well-mixed urine or 12 ml well-mixed urine. Okay, you mix first the urine before you perform chemical exam and before you perform the dipstick and then before you perform your physical exam. Of course, as well, before you transfer an alicot or before you transfer 12 ml in a test tube. Okay? And then you centrifuge at 450 gravity, 450 G for 5 minutes or 400 RCF, 400 RCF for 5 minutes. Okay, 400 RCF for 5 minutes. After, of course, or for other references, they make use of 1,500 RPM to 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000 RPM for 3 to 5 minutes. Anyway, after the 5 minute centrifugation, you decant to remove the supernatant and you retain at least 0.5 to 1 ml. Again, decant to remove the supernatant, decant, and then retain at least 0.5 ml to 1 ml sediment. Okay, resuspend, resuspend, and then place 1 drop or 20 microliters in a clean glass slide. Okay, transfer 20 microliters. Of course, okay, you do not need an autopet here, an automatic pipette for the 20 microliters. Okay, and so just 1 drop is okay. You transfer 1 drop of the sediment in a clean glass slide. Please note that you need to resuspend well. Okay, and so mix well again, resuspend and mix well. Okay, and then place 1 drop of 20 or 1 drop or 20 microliters in a clean glass slide with the 22 by 22 mm cover slip. 22 by 22 mm cover slip. And then, of course, you examine microscopically. You examine microscopically. Please note before I forget that if the patient, if there is a difficulty obtaining 12 ml or 10 to 15 ml of urine, this one is possible, commonly seen in cases of pediatric patients. In cases of pediatric patients. Okay, if such, if the patient is have has a difficulty of obtaining a 12 ml urine sample, then you note the volume of the specimen utilized. Accordingly, you note the volume of the specimen utilized. Okay, back to your microscopic examination. Examine with low and high power objectives. Again, examine with low and high power objectives. Please note that subdued lights, okay, or yes, subdued light is required to detect sediment, yes, sediment elements with low refractive index, subdued light, okay, or low light. If if you have phase contrast microscopy or microscope, if your laboratory employs phase contrast microscopy, then that is very good. But then if you only have bright field microscopy or bright field microscope, then you lower the light, or yes, the light. Examine under subdued light, okay, to detect sediments or entities with low refractive index. And yes, I demonstrated this one to you also, that okay, while examining, the fine adjustment knob should be should be varied continuously while scanning. Meaning, dapat ginagalaw mo siya while you scan. Okay, again, the fine adjustment knob should be varied continuously while scanning. Okay, ginagalaw mo dapat siya. Again, please note, okay, uh, I told you I demonstrated to you how to manipulate the microscope. Of course, one hand should be holding the objectives and the other hand should be holding the axis knobs. Okay, the mechanical adjustment knobs. Please note. Okay, and yes, while doing microscopic exam, you what you call this, uh, you vary continuously the fine knobs. Okay, meaning galaw-galawin mo siya every now and then. Do not let it steady. Okay, do not let it steady accordingly. Okay, usually for casts, you examine the edges. You examine the edges of the cover slip to what you call this, to better have or to better see casts accordingly. Okay, to better see your casts. Okay, again, just to sum up, your sample volume 10 to 15 ml. Okay, and centrifuge. Please note that the centrifuge must be disinfected weekly. Okay, it must be disinfected weekly, and the centrifuge must be calibrated every 3 months accordingly. The centrifuge must be calibrated every 3 months. Okay. And yes, please note that centrifuge urine sediment should contain all the insoluble materials. Again, a centrifuge urine sediment must contain or should contain all the insoluble materials. Yes, and yes, the formed elements. Okay, the formed elements that have accumulated in that have accumulated in the urine following glomerular filtration and during passage of the ultrafiltrate through the renal tubules and the lower urinary tract. Okay. Again, a centrifuge urine should contain all the materials, the formed elements that have accumulated in the urine following glomerular filtration, during passage of fluid through the renal tubules, and during its passage to the lower urinary tract. reporting accordingly. Please note, as what we said earlier, you count in 10 fields. You count in 10 fields. Please note pa that you need to count in 10 fields. And yes, while counting in 10 fields, you vary, okay? You, what you call this, you move, you vary, you move your fine adjustment knob. Okay, galaw-galawin mo siya every now and then while counting. Anyway, your, what you call this, your red cells, your WBCs, as well as your renal tubular epithelial cells and oval fat bodies, they are reported in numerical range per 10 high power field. Again, your red cells, your WBCs, your renal tubular epithelial cells, as well as your OFB, okay, or oval fat bodies, they are reported in numerical range per 10 high power field. In numerical range per 10 high power field. So, yes, your leukocytes and erythrocytes, they are, as well as your renal epithelial cells, they are counted using high power. They are counted using high power. And again, as what I tell you during our laboratory, you count at least 10. You count, yes, you count in at least 10 high power field. You sum and then you get the average and you report, okay, as a numerical range per high power field. Okay, if that falls in 3 to 5 or 5 to 8, 5 to 10, then you report it as a 5 to 10. Anyway, your crystals, your crystals and your epithelial cells, they are quantitated or they are counted using your low power objectives. Okay, they are quantitated or yes, using your low power objective. Please note that presence of abnormal crystals should be confirmed chemically and should be correlated with the patient history accordingly. Again, presence of abnormal crystals like tyrosine crystals, bilirubin crystals, as such. They should be confirmed chemically and should be correlated with patient's history also. Okay, epithelial cells and crystals, they are reported semi-quantitative per 10 high power fields. Semi-quantitative per 10 high power fields. That is rare or negative. Negative, rare, few, moderate, many. Okay, just to add here, for your in high power field, your bacteria, they are examined or counted using high power field. And of course, they are reported per high power field or they are reported in semi-quantitative, negative, rare, few, many, moderate, many tend to say or loaded as such. Okay, that is for your epithelial cells and crystals, as well as your red cells, WBCs, RTE, and OFB. And yes, accordingly, what you call this, your accordingly, if there are more than two renal epithelial cells, you need this one is recommended for confirmation. If you have greater than two renal epithelial cells, it is recommended for confirmation using cytopathologic or specific chemical tests. Anyway, your pathologic casts like waxy, fine granular, WBC, bacterial casts, the following, they should be, uh, what they call this, they should be confirmed. Okay, they are recommended for confirmation. And then, of course, you have tissue fragments, urothelial cells, as well as pathologic crystals. Okay, those items, if seen in the urine, they need to be confirmed. They are recommended for confirmation accordingly. And yes, okay, please note that before releasing the result, okay, before releasing your final urine analysis result, you review the entire report, including not only the microscopic examination, but then of course you include physical exam, chemical, and and then of course the microscopic data. And of course, you correlate them with available clinical information. Okay, if again, I said earlier, if there are discrepancies, resolve them. Okay, you resolve, you investigate, and then you resolve. Do not release right away the report or the result of the patient, the urine analysis result of the patient. Okay, that is for your sediment preparation. Of course, okay, I already added here your Addis count. Your Addis count, this is a quantitative measure of formed elements using a hemocytometer. Of course, was introduced or invented by Thomas Addis. But then accordingly, this one is not utilized or not performed nowadays. So the preservative employed for a discount is 24, sorry, is formalin. The preservative employed for a discount is formalin. And the sample is a 12-hour urine sample. 12-hour urine sample. Please note that your a discount is a quantitative measure. Okay. For the reference values, WBCs and epithelial cells is less than 1,800. I mean, no, it's not 1,000. It's 1,800,000. Okay, that is the normal value. Red cells 0 to 500,000 and hyaline cast 0 to 500, 0 to 5,000, 0 to 5,000. Thank you so much. This has been Gael reminding you to live fully, love deeply, love often. Keep learning and never forget to enjoy the ride. And as you move forward, may you always choose curiosity over fear, kindness over convenience, and growth over comfort. And yes, you celebrate your small victories, you honor your quiet moments, and trust that every step, no matter how uncertain, shapes the story you are meant to tell. The world is wide, your time is precious, and your journey is uniquely yours. So go make it extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you so much, and see you around.